In this demo, we will learn how we can work with different environments. And this is a good time to talk about that, because we might want to execute different pieces of code depending on a specific environment. What we see on screen here is a good example. Depending on your use case, you might want to show the documentation to everyone, even when the API has been published, or you may only want to enable it while developing, for easy testing via the UI, for example. By default, it's only added during development, but not in a production environment. Let's have a look at the Debug tab of the project properties. We click Open Debug Launch Profiles UI, and here we can find and edit the environment variables. Currently, the ASP.NET Core environment variable is set to development. ASP.NET Core references a particular environment variable. 3 values are used by convention: development, staging, and production. But you can add your own if you want. Mind you, an environment is not the same as a type of build. You might roll out a debug build to a staging environment, for example. But anyway, by using this environment variable, we're now able to easily write code for different environments. We'll leave it at development for now. Back to our code. To programmatically access the environment value, we can use the iWebHost environment service. This provides the core abstraction for working with environments. It's provided by the ASP.NET Core hosting layer and available via app.environment. Through this, we have access to quite a lot of interesting information regarding the current environment. The application name, the content root path, the web root path, but also the environment name. Extension methods like isDevelopment, isEnvironment, and isProduction exist as well. We're currently running in the development environment, which means the Swagger-related middleware should be added to the request pipeline. Let's give that a try. And if we navigate to the Swagger endpoint, we indeed see our documentation. Let's stay away from our code, but let's change the environment. So we again open the project properties, the Debug Launch Profiles UI, and for profile cityinfo.api, we set the environment to production. Alright, let's save this and let's give this another try. This time, when I navigate to the Swagger endpoint, we see Hello World being written out. And that makes sense. What happened is that the request was flowing up through the request pipeline, but these 2 pieces of middleware were not added to it because we're not in the development environment. Our custom app.run statement, which is actually a way of creating middleware on the fly, does get hit. So Hello World gets written out. Before we continue, let's switch back to the development environment for the rest of the demos. And let's save this. With that, you should have a good idea of how this request pipeline works and how you can work with different environments. Up next is effectively creating our API actions that will return data. But we'll keep that for the next module. For now, it's time for this module summary.